Rumpelstiltskin, from the Adaptation by Anne H.Foley, illustrated by David Hohn. I'm not sure what this story will be about. It doesn't have its own cover since it's part of the collection of short stories. But the title of the story is long and weird, and I don't recognize it. I wonder what the title Rumpelstiltskin means. I think I'll read on and look at the pictures to find out. If I look at the photo on the first page, maybe it will provide me with some context of the story, even before I start reading it. So the first illustration has a little man with large features, and he seems to be using a spinning wheel, like the one from Sleeping Beauty. And he seems to be feeding hay into it. I wonder what he's doing. Let's start reading to find out. A miller and his daughter once delivered some flour to the king. To impress the king, the miller boasted, "Your Majesty, my daughter is very special. She can spin ordinary straw into gold." That's a weird thing to say. Why would he say that? Is it true? Let's keep reading to find out. "Indeed," said the greedy king, "she must prove her talent." The king led the girl to a room filled with straw. "Spin all of this into gold by tomorrow morning," he said, shutting the door. Straw into gold. Kind of like how King Midas could turn anything into gold just by touching it. That's a good story too. So, I still don't know too much yet, but the king doesn't ask the daughter if she really can spin gold from straw and takes her father's words for it. He doesn't care because he's greedy. He wants the gold, and that's his end goal no matter what. But I wonder if she can actually spin it. I don't think she can though. That's my prediction. So she's going to be in a serious pickle. Unless she's magic, then maybe she could spin straw into gold. Let's keep reading to see if my prediction is right. From the illustration, it shows the miller's daughter holding long threads that are shiny like gold. It almost seems like she did do it. But the miller's daughter did not really know how to spin straw into gold. In despair, she began to weep. Suddenly, a voice asked, "Why are you crying?" The miller's daughter looked up and saw an old little man. She explained her dilemma. What does dilemma mean? Let me look it up. A dilemma is a difficult situation or problem. Well, she's definitely in a dilemma if she can't make gold from straw. "I will spin this straw into gold for you," said the man, "if you give me your necklace." The miller's daughter agreed, and the man set to work. This reminds me of a moment in Aladdin, when Jafar disguised himself as an old little man when they were both in prison, tried to gain some empathy with him into bringing him to the Cave of Wonders. Let's keep going. So we know so far that a stranger came in to help her when she has to fill a room that's already filled with straw into gold. So how is she going to get out of this, basically? I think the man can do it. I think he'll spin the straw overnight, and then the next morning the king will free her. Let's hope. So if we look at the next page and the next illustration, she's sleeping on a lot of those threads that she was holding in the last illustration, and it looks like that the man did it. That's pretty good. The picture of the miller's daughter also kind of reminds me of Sleeping Beauty, just because of the spinning wheel within the background. The next morning, the king was delighted to see that all the straw had been spun into gold. He led the miller's daughter to another, much larger room filled with straw. Ah, no. "Spin all of this into gold by tomorrow morning, and you shall become queen," said the king, leaving the room. "I cannot do it," she sobbed. Why didn't the miller's daughter tell the truth in the first place? Why would her father give her up like that? That was so mean of him. I don't know how this is going to work. Just then, the little man reappeared. "I will do it for you," he said, "if you give me your firstborn child." Ooh. Well, I was sort of right with my prediction. He did spin it all for her, but she wasn't set free. Now she's stuck with another dilemma. She either tells the king that she's a fraud, or she gives up her baby. I wonder why he wants her child. Why can't he adopt? Why does he have to bargain? You know what? I don't think she'll give him her child. Let's keep reading to figure this out. But this story, at least up to this point, also reminds me of Rapunzel, when, like, the old fairy tale, where her dad gave her up and traded her for a head of lettuce. And then they were hoping that the witch wouldn't remember. So if we look at the next page, there's a new character. I think he may be the king, since he's well dressed in comparison to the miller's daughter's rags, and he has a fancy mustache. He also looks very impressed with the work she has done. Let's keep reading. The miller's daughter felt she had no choice and agreed to the awful request. She slept as the little man worked. Wait, have we missed the name for the little man, or are we just still calling him little man? Like, I'm skimming over the last few pages, and I don't seem to see his name. So I guess we still don't know his name. Maybe it becomes important later, or something like that. Anyways, let's keep reading. By sunrise, all of the straw had once again been turned to gold. Much like before, the short man turned all the straw into gold. You are a woman of incredible skill, and I would like you to be my wife, cried the king, upon seeing the miracle. Let's try that again. Cried the king, upon seeing the miracle. The miller's daughter and the king were soon married. So, she agreed to the man's terms, even though she didn't like them. Then the king asked her to marry him immediately upon the reveal of the gold. I wonder if there's a reason why we don't know the little man's name. I bet that his name is Rumpelstiltskin, since it's the title of the story. That would kind of make sense, right? Let's look at the next page. The illustration on this one, it shows the little man again, and he's sitting on a windowsill with his arms outstretched and waiting, as if he's saying, "Give me the baby." But obviously, I still don't think she's going to give him the baby. Let's keep reading. Within a year, the queen gave birth to a daughter. Whoa, wait, how'd she become a queen again? Right, the miller's daughter and the king were soon married. They just got married, I forgot. Let's just keep going. She forgot all about her agreement with the little man, until one day, when he suddenly appeared. I have not forgotten our deal, he said. Give me your daughter. Oh, please do not take my child, pleaded the desperate queen. Very well, I will give you another chance. Whew. The mean man reappeared and asked for the child, but the queen doesn't want to give her up. I was right. But he did give her another chance, which is kind of nice. So maybe I shouldn't be calling him mean. But what will he do? He seems like a silly, kind of tricky person. So maybe he'll try and play a trick on her so he'll get the baby. The next image has the queen holding her baby in a more of a protective manner. Like she'll do anything to keep it. Let's keep going. You have 3 days to guess my name. If you guess correctly, you can keep your baby. But if you cannot guess, I get your child. The next day, the strange little man arrived to hear the queen's first guesses. The queen read a long list of names, but not a single one of them was correct. The queen was very worried. She sent messengers all over the kingdom telling them to remember every unusual name they heard. This part kind of reminds me of a moment in Tangled, when the king sent out like all of his staff and like the townsfolk to go and look for the magic flower to help his dying wife and Rapunzel, the unborn child. But so far we know that the man is giving her a task, but even though it seems easy, I bet it's really difficult. That way he'll ensure that he's going to get the baby. But will his name be Rumpelstiltskin? We still haven't figured that out. Let's keep going. The next image has a staff member. Well, it looks like a staff member. It's somebody probably in her court who has found the little man dancing around a fire with a big grin. I bet he thinks that he's going to win. When the little man returned, the queen read a list of all the odd names. Wait, where did she get those names again? Right. She asked the members of her court to remember any weird names. But did it work? When the little man returned, the queen read a list of all the odd names found by her messengers, but at the end of the second day, she still did not know the names, or did not know his name. Nope. On the third day, a messenger came running into the palace. Your Majesty, I have seen an odd little man dancing around a fire singing. Based on the both illustrations so far, I bet he did find out the answer. Let's keep going. The queen's heart will break, for her child I'll take. I'll win the guessing game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name. Why do these words look different than the rest? If we go back, he is singing, so maybe that's why they're in a different kind of font. They're italicized instead of just regular like everything else. So they're supposed to probably signify that he's singing. Let's keep going. Soon the little man arrived. The queen looked him in the eye and asked, "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" "How did you know?" screamed the little man, stomping his feet in anger. Almost kind of like a child having a temper tantrum. He stomped so hard that he kicked a hole right through the floor. In an instant, the strange little man disappeared, never to be seen again. Using the pictures and descriptive words seeded throughout the narrative, I can see the progression of events. The miller's daughter only became queen because she bargained for Rumpelstiltskin to help her. It led her to making an awful deal, one that she would regret, that has consequences later. I think the story tells the readers that we shouldn't make important snap decisions. We may come to regret them later. The queen only got out of her deal because she took the time to find information and trust in others.